There is a hush that comes with surrender, delicate, quiet, strangely electric. Not the hush of emptiness or lack, but a living stillness that lies beneath the wanting, the reaching, the mind's choreography of when and how much. In this moment, let the air deepen around you. Let your shoulders sink into the mattress, the pillow holding the shape of your trust. There's nothing to achieve here, no outcome to chase, only a gentle welcome into the space where you can meet yourself, with nowhere else to be for a while. Most days we're trained to move fast, to interpret waiting as some ache or as rejection. Money takes its time, and instead of feeling held by that timing, we tighten, like bracing for thunder before it rumbles. We rush edges that do not wish to be rushed. We chase buds to blossom before the sun's even warm enough to coax them. In this chase, the breath becomes shallow, the heart pounds a little louder, the body curls inward as if preparing to weather a storm. But what if there's nothing to brace for? Imagine what softens when the need to control ebbs away, when frantic thoughts about delay unspool like a loose ribbon, each coiled gentler than the last. The exhale is not an ending, it's a returning, a descent into something old and wise, where the nervous system is not on alert, where every not yet is a pause tuned for ripening. Let your inhale move a little slower. Feel the air entering like warm water filling a hollow, smoothing the corners inside your chest. No rush to the top. Let it swirl and linger. There is no finish line in this room. Under all the stories about when and why, perhaps there's a quieter hope, that the timing of your abundance is not random, but responsive, intelligent, aching to fit you perfectly. Even as impatience rises, let it pass through you, like light bending through glass, neither clinging nor resisting. Notice how the muscles in your brow relax when you remove the pressure to arrive on someone else's timeline. Most are taught to fear silence, to fill it with activity or noise or endless questions. Is it working? Shouldn't it be here by now? But stillness isn't absence. It's the soft space where new roots take hold, deeper and wider than the ones you can measure. Picture yourself as the soil after rain. Saturated, heavy, full, yet the fruit stays hidden, ripening in the folds below the surface. You don't see it yet, but the change is happening, cell by gentle cell. With every breath, you're allowed to unfurl a little more. The bed cradles you. The air around your body is gentle and available. Even your skin learns the language of ease, each pore remembering safety. Release the jaw. Let the tongue soften. There is no need to prepare a defense for delay. Tonight, the only work is to notice how you can let go, a little. Pay attention to how the breath pools in the belly, how the hands naturally open when you no longer grip the invisible threads of what-ifs. So much of the old world measured worth in speed, in immediacy, in how quickly results could be harvested. But you are not a machine. You are a season, a pulse, a constellation woven over centuries. Even the most ancient rivers took their time carving new banks. Release the idea that fulfillment should always be swift. Some treasures are only revealed to those who linger in the mystery, who allow themselves to be remade by the waiting. Let yourself drift in that space between effort and ease. Feel the temperature of your hands, the gentle rise and fall of your ribs. Each pause is a blessing, stretching the mind beyond old units of measure, beyond old wounds that once equated waiting with punishment. Here, patience is possibility. Here, stillness is the ground where certainty grows, quiet at first, then steadier, then bright. Notice what happens as you listen to the silence beneath my words. There is a frequency there that does not ask you to perform or prove or hurry. It simply wants you to arrive, breath by breath, with less urgency and more wonder. Now invite the spine to uncurl. Notice the ease in your shoulders. Allow a soft, slow sigh. Let it travel all the way to your toes. Trust for a moment that there is order within the unseen. Not a punishment, not a withheld gift, but a choreography of timing that honors your deepest readiness. Imagine a door that only opens when your hand is steady and your heart is calm enough to truly notice what's behind it. Nothing required. No requirement to hustle, to analyze, to justify your dreams. The opportunity will not leave without you. In this space, time bends gently. Delay is not a barricade but a corridor. Let your next breath come as if you've waited your whole life for this kind of simple receiving. Let the air be thick, nourishing, quiet. Notice if the mind wants to leap ahead, thank it. Invite it home, down into the belly, the hips, the heavy warmth of the blanket over your body. Many have been taught that nothing happens in stillness. But stillness holds 1,000 soft changes at once. Cells mending, hearts recalibrating, new ideas drifting on the edge of sleep. In the quiet, the body becomes a temple of trust. In this night, what if you allowed yourself to belong to the in-between? Even when nothing seems to be happening, your abundance is gathering, like rain behind distant hills, like sap rising slow in winter. What if that gathering, unseen by the eye, is the real miracle? Now, as sleep approaches, stay with the sound of your breathing, the rise, the fall, the fluctuation between wanting and having, between waiting and arrival, is a rhythm as old as the tides. Each rise prepares the fall, each waiting prepares the receiving. Tonight, let your worth be measured not by speed, but by the sweetness of this surrender. Let stillness be your wealth tonight. Let softness be your certainty. There is nothing you need to do, except rest in the sacredness of the present and allow time itself to love you open. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about waiting, about the space between longing and the world's answer. What if the quiet ache that fills the room when money doesn't arrive is a promise, not an absence? What if delay is not a punishment, but proof that your truest tide is still gathering? What if the body's impatience for proof is really just the mind forgetting that the oceans never rush their return? This is not a lesson, not a list of steps or a story about doing more. This is a gentle recoding. Tonight, every word is here to soften the grip around your ribcage, unravel the knot behind your heart, and guide your nervous system back to a trust it remembers deep below thought. While you drift, something far older than worry wakes, quietly inside you. If you've ever watched the clock tick, each second weighed down by announcements you thought you should have received by now, if you've stretched your stomach thin with wanting, wondering if wanting itself is a flaw, if part of you shrinks when someone else's ship docks before your shores, then this entire episode is written for you. This is for the ones who lie awake stacking numbers and forecasts in the dark, trying to decode what every delay must mean about their worth, their luck, the architecture of unseen blessings. And for the dreamers whose chests seize under the language of too late and not enough. For the steady soldiers of hope who have built altars from patience, but ache for a sign that patience is not an endless fasting. So stay with me, even if you drift right now, even if your body gives in before your mind is satisfied. The truth will find you in the slow glow between sentences. You don't have to listen, not with the ears you use all day. Let the words surround you the way salt air coats the skin by the shore, gentle, steady, unearned. Tonight, as you rest, there is only this, a single breath. The pause before the world answers, before your desires gather shape and bones and a light in your hands. The first inhale, the gentle, trembling invitation to soften the body and let a deeper wisdom take up residence. Tonight, we meet delay with something softer than analysis, slower than strategy. We begin with breath. Not the shallow gasp of wishing, not the hurried drag before sleep. The breath that is tide, ebbing quietly, surging without demand, holding its return in perfect rhythm whether watched or ignored. What if, in this moment, you could loosen from the expectation that tides must rush back for you to know you're safe? The inhale asks nothing but your presence. The exhale invites surrender. This episode isn't a map. It isn't a formula or a shortcut to what you're owed. What we do here is older than money, older than need, breathing as the doorway to feel, and in that feeling to remember. Beneath conditioning, below every story that named slow results as a threat, there is a place that knows how to wait without fear, held by rhythms that never break their promise. And if that is true, then nothing you want is late. And you are never behind, not really, not in the ways that matter, not in the silent scorecard of spirit. So tonight, let yourself be carried. You don't have to listen closely. You don't have to memorize or analyze. You do not have to stay awake. Let it move through you like water, like some sacred tide that always knows how and when to rise. Sometimes the sweetest relief arrives not in a sudden rush, but in a quiet easing, as if the heart, weary from running ahead, finds itself gently walked back to the center of its own season. It's easy in this world to measure against the sun, to wonder if a garden is late to bloom, forgetting how each seed opens only when the earth calls to it, not one moment early, not a heartbeat behind. Most have been taught to fear delay. Pauses twist into panic, and waiting is painted as a flaw, evidence of not doing, not being, not enough. The mind loops on opportunities that seem to pass by, as if the river of luck is something you missed. What if delay is not a mark against you, but the silent design of your alignment, unfolding from somewhere wiser? What if the constellations shift only when the night is ready to receive them, and so do you? Breathe, and notice how the branches never blame the wind for moving slow. Every bud arrives with breath, not apology. Sometimes, longing feels like standing in winter earth, unsure if anything is stirring. But beneath the quiet, roots lace themselves deeper, knowing the sun will soon slant differently, knowing new green needs root before risk. Most chase, press, measure, worry. It is common to ask, what's wrong with me? To tie worth to pace, to write stories in the gaps that sound like someone better would have gotten there already. What if this moment, this not yet, is a sacred season you're allowed to occupy? What if money, love, success only seem late because a larger part of your life is calibrating, preparing, weaving unseen strands into a tapestry meant only for you? Release the tight hold. Let yourself drop the thread of urgency, even for a breath. Let the quest for proof loosen in your chest. Sometimes the universe is growing a garden out of sight, like the quiet hours before dawn, when constellations seem to rearrange themselves, and in those mysteries, nothing is ever actually missing. In a world obsessed with outcomes, the soul knows value in the becoming. You are not the tally of immediate harvests, nor the shape of any single bloom. You are the whole field, the entire season. The unseen roots drinking in the possibility before it's visible. Exhale, as softly as if you were laying down among wildflowers, feeling the earth pulse with secrets only the patient discover. Delay does not subtract. It accumulates what matters. Towards money, this same rhythm whispers, not behind, just preparing, a richness being tended, layered, built, never taken from you. When income doesn't show, when timing strays from the plan, ask instead, what is the deeper infrastructural blessing planting itself now? Imagine money like moonlight, sometimes a sliver, sometimes hidden, but always completing its cycle, always returning in fullness. Let the urge to rush soften like evening rain. Feel how the seasons hold no grudges against themselves. Autumn never mourns spring, and summer never grudges the return of frost. Each arrives, transforms, lets go, and receives again. Breathe deep, you are not late. You are in concert with a rhythm ancient as the constellations. Your worth measures out in knowing the dusk and trusting the unseen shapes that only dawn will reveal. When results stall and patience frays, remember how the soil rests before the spring thunder. There is a surrender, a knowing, an honoring of cycles. Notice, just notice, how identity stretched over urgency tightens. How good it feels to unknot from the old belief. If it's not here yet, it never will be. Release, let the nervous system relearn what trust feels like. Let uncertainty be a soft moss, something that cradles rather than punishes. With every exhalation, allow the story of failure to dissolve, old, brittle leaves returning to nourish new ground. You never fell behind. The orchard simply needed longer sun, or a deeper winter, or a wild new graft to bear a new kind of fruit. From this state, opportunities return, sometimes in disguise, sometimes disguised as rest. The world turns at its own pace. Your alignment is not stopwatch timed, but constellation timed. Breathe. Trust that you are both seed and sun, soil and star, and that nothing is unclaimed, nothing wasted. Every moment of not yet is ripening you for more lasting abundance. All is in order, nature never loses track. Tonight, let your worth anchor itself outside of time. Let silence become your companion, delays your mentors, breath your reassurance. Rest here. Even as you become, you belong. Soft now, there is a quiet space before it all arrives. The kind of hush that draws out every restless thought and every unspoken wish. Most days the world teaches movement, praises urgency, celebrates speed. When the heart waits, longing not yet met, the first feeling is often hunger, a heat rising behind the ribs, wanting to run ahead, to leap past the pause. But not tonight. Tonight is for listening to waiting itself, not as an absence but as the first brushstroke of creation. Tonight is for letting the delay become a gentle hand, an invitation instead of a wall. Sometimes the mind rushes to label the wait as a mistake, a wrong turn, a missed train, a trick of poor timing. There are so many stories tethered to impatience, a sense that what is wanted might never arrive. Edges tighten, the breath grows shallow, and if gently noticed, the body might bristle as if it should be fighting or fleeing. Here, though, something softer is offered, a slow unwinding, as if each second of waiting was a silent rearrangement of possibility. What if the pause is not blocking, but building? What if there is something wise and secretive unfolding in the unseen? Notice how, when the urge to control softens, space gently opens. In this space, 1,000 tiny things are set in motion. Fears melt into the corners, hopes slip free of old burdens, and even doubt begins to lose its sharpness. The soul, patient as earth, knows how to stay with unhurried growth. A seed in darkness, a tide gathering itself beneath the surface, a breath held just before release, all teach of waiting as initiation. There is no lost time here, only the slow sculpting of readiness. With every inhale, let the tension dissolve. With every exhale, allow patience to settle in the bones. This pause is not emptiness, it is the architecture of trust, the kind of fertile ground where real abundance will take root. Over and over, patience plants the future beneath the skin. Over and over, receiving gathers strength in silence. Most seek signs or guarantees, proof that waiting will one day become reward. But in truth, the longer pause often holds its own medicine. It is here that old narratives about worth are unraveled, not through striving but through stillness. Each moment that arrives slowly is an invitation to witness capacity expand, silently stretching the container of what can be held. Longing aches differently, less sharply, as resistance falls away. There is warmth now, a cocoon of breath, the hush before dawn, the slow turning of the moon's face toward fullness. What if every second between wish and fulfillment was teaching sovereignty? What if softness in the waiting became strength itself? Sometimes, the lessons of longing are held in the body, a tight jaw, a restless hand, the urge to pace or reach. But here, bodies can rest, no longer measured by urgency or productivity. Here, the nervous system is invited to slow, to trust that simply being is already enough. Each breath is a gentle return, a letting go of the race toward outcomes, a remembrance that effort is not the measure of destiny. Imagine a slow river winding and widening, not forced, simply choosing the shape that suits its fullness. Imagine a fruit ripening so gradually that the change can hardly be seen until suddenly it is sweet enough to nourish. The soul, too, matures by increments, imperceptible, steady, unfurling in its own wise rhythm. Waiting is not emptiness, but the active stewardship of desire. The tending of a flame that needs time before it is ready to warm a larger space. Notice if the heart wants to grip tighter, to make demands. Then notice what softens when you allow instead of insist. Each inhale brings an opportunity to unclench, and with each exhale, the body finds safety in the slow reveal. This is how capacity is built, with gentle patience, with breath, and with the willing surrender to unfoldment. Where impatience used to knot itself in the mind, now there is a soothing rhythm, the slow stretch of muscle, the gentle unclenching of hope. There is no rush here, not for answers, not for evidence, just a simple trust that the unseen serves a purpose no calendar or clock can measure. Even the deepest winter carries the instructions for spring. Even silence can carry a song waiting to be heard. Sometimes the ache is simply an ache wanting comfort. But comfort can rise up from within, a hand to the heart, a softening of the brow, a memory of every other weight that blossomed in its own time. The wisdom inside this waiting is not about resignation, but about profound readiness. With every pause, what was small becomes wide, what was hurried becomes true, and what once felt missing begins to feel possible again. Let waiting be an act of faith, not a verdict on worthiness. Let stillness stretch the soul's capacity to receive, not by forcing, never by force, but by being the open field willing to host the first signs of rain. What if delay is not distance, but devotion? What if this expanse is cushioning the arrival of something larger, steadier, more deeply aligned? Let the weight of all not yet turn soft in your hands. Let every unanswered question be held like a seed, trusting, silent, containing more than can be seen. The alchemy of waiting is turning anticipation into peace, longing into presence, and delay into devotion. Rest easy in the slow build of tomorrow, knowing every breath is making more space inside you than before. And as steadiness grows, so too does your capacity to receive, easily, quietly, abundantly. With each settling, remember, there is nothing wrong in the mystery. All is preparing you, even the space between. Breathe, and find that you have never been left behind, only readied for the arrival of your abundance at its most perfect and intelligent timing. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is a gentle turning, a call to notice what softly arrives in the waiting when outcomes seem silent, but something deeper is humming underneath. What if emptiness was not absence, but the hush before a bell is rung? What if the pause was not punishment, but a velvet cushion cupping you in readiness? What if uncertainty was not a void, but a wind, carrying subtle tidings only heard beneath all striving? Here, every word is designed to cradle that subtlety. The way a distant chime reaches more truly in a still room, or the faintest breeze through open windows draws your attention to what's alive beyond sight. This isn't a lesson. It's a gentle recoding for your nervous system, weaving reassurance into those inner pauses, while your truest self remembers how to listen. If you've ever felt stranded in the in-between, when money, clarity, or purpose feels late, let these next moments hold you. This episode is for every part of you that waits and wonders, so stay with me. Even as sleep folds around you, the message will keep whispering. You don't have to hold on, just let every sound wash over you. There is a soft truth at the edge of sleep tonight. Sometimes, it seems as though everything has frozen. Money waits outside the door, silent and unmoving. The world grows quiet. All evidence of motion disappears, as if the river of your dreams has been locked beneath thick and featureless ice. No ripples, no glistening waves, just the hush of unchanging, frosted stillness. Most drift into worry here. They stare at the surface, waiting for it to break, wondering if perhaps this time nothing moves beneath. Maybe opportunity stopped caring. Maybe worth faded without a sound. They touch the ice and feel only its cold sheet, forgetting that water is stubborn, ancient, endlessly patient. But what if this pause is less a prison and more a promise? Beneath every crust of doubt, a current is working. Close your inner eyes, listen for the hush. Can you hear the river? Soft churning over stone, brushing patience along silk banks, drawing minerals from dark earth. Even when everything up above is silent, life is humming in secret passages. Imagine kneeling here, palms cool against the hard glass skin of winter. Beneath you, the river is persistent, resisting stillness, flowing without audience. It caresses pebbles, slides through narrow braids, presses forward with the knowledge of its own momentum. The ice grows thick to the world's impatience, yet underneath, motion teaches itself how to wait and to grow strong in waiting. Breathe in, noticing how the air itself feels sharper near hidden water. Taste the faint trace of mineral in the current, carried upward in dreams. Let the quiet echo in your ribs, a slow, peaceful drumming, a reminder that something is on its way. There is warmth in this cold, life working softly, creating newness from silence. Where others demand proof, instant movement, loud bursts of gain, what if you allow yourself to rest with the ice? What if behind the stillness, you choose to honor what cannot be seen yet? Often, waiting feels like punishment, but the river isn't troubled by delay. It uses the pause, pressure building its power, direction finding shape in the dark. Nothing is happening is a myth the surface tells. Below, the journey deepens, notice the sensations. the low, constant sigh of movement just out of sight, the icy edge prickling against your palm, the slow spread of warmth as you trust in unseen flow. Hear the faintest chime of water colliding with stone. Feel how the river's own patience enters your bloodstream. There in every cell a knowing, my turn is coming, my abundance is never late. If you have ever wondered if longing was lack, or if your desires were denied because timing did not bow to your will, imagine the river again. And consider how, even in stillness, it carves its path, nourishing roots waiting for the thaw. It is never lost, never stagnant. It is always becoming, beneath, between, beyond. Take another breath. Feel ice on your fingertips, but warmth traveling up your arms. There is a hush, a promise between what you wish and what exists. Money may look late, but movement hums constantly behind closed doors beneath the surface. Hear the echo as it resounds quietly. I am moving, I am gathering, I am on my way. Rest your thoughts against this truth. So often, doubt presses on the frozen crust, impatient for progress. Yet the most resilient flow is the one that persists with no audience. Waters gathering strength, amplifying their story, refusing to freeze at the surface's request. Every dream sleeps a while. Every wish sinks to secret places where it grows stronger, richer, steadier. Picture yourself by the riverside. Feel the icy mist rising, tiny droplets gathering on your lashes, the scent of ancient stones swept up by water's journey. There's a chill in the air, but below life is vibrating, constant, unhurried. Imagine what it would be like to trust this unseen persistence, that the real progress is often what you can't yet see. Some nights stretch endlessly. Wealth, recognition, even relief, all seem distant, their arrival snowed in by circumstance. But the world does not go still. The river proves it. Underneath, there is planning, recalibrating, seeking the next opening. Each delay is an inner condensation, a gathering of latent power, a sacred rerouting. If your mind returns to fear, what if nothing comes? What if this stillness means the end? Rest in the wet, living promise beneath your feet. The river is untouched by worry. In its memory, every winter eventually softens. Every inch of pause gives way to a surge. Flow returns, fuller, more determined than before. The ice may hold its shape tonight, but underneath, purpose is rewriting itself, cool and calm and unbreakable. Inhale deeply now, inviting the scent of cold water and moss, the faint vibration of motion you cannot witness. Let this river be your ally in patience, evidence that waiting is not emptiness, but gathering. Often, the thing you want most is simply rerouting to arrive more surely, more abundantly, more aligned than you dreamed possible. Allow your body to soften at this thought. Release your grip on the timetable. Warmth and movement are present, even when they hide. Trust the gentle churn below all appearances. Trust that your becoming is underway, even when the world is hushed and white and quiet. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. And tonight's message is gentle but deep. Sometimes when it feels like abundance is late, the universe is offering rest, not punishment. What if the pause before receiving is not evidence of lack, but a gathering of softness around your future? What if the worry of falling behind is simply old static in your body, dissolving quietly with every breath here? What if the passage of time is not a thief, but a careful choreographer, arranging something sturdier than rushed fortune? This space is not another lesson, not a test to pass or a strategy to perfect. It's a refuge for your nervous system and your spirit, a place designed to help every cell relax the grip on urgency, while your inner knowing finds its way home. Each word, each silence, is offered so your body can soften, and your sense of worth can remember its unhurried roots. For anyone who's ever laid awake counting missed chances, or critiqued the clock for being too slow, for anyone whose chest has tightened at the thought of not enough yet, this episode is crafted for you. If part of you is tired of running, tired of measuring worth by speed, then here you will find a new rhythm, one that honors how deeply you long for relief. So settle even deeper, feeling the way your jaw loosens, maybe noticing how your throat wants to soften. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears, finding that low, secret space at the bottom of the exhale. There's nothing to do here but listen or drift. Let something in you give up the timeline for a moment, the constant reaching for the next, the old script about falling behind or running out of time. Let curiosity replace the unrest. Stay even if your mind wants to wander, even if your worries say it's late or urgent. There is nothing more urgent than this return to your own pace. Stay, even if just to hear a softer story, the kind that doesn't ask you to push, but to float. Stay if your muscles remember the pressure and your heart needs reminding that arrival is not better than being. Even if you drift off, the gentle truth will meet you. Even in sleep, your soul recognizes the invitation back to wholeness. So rest, you don't have to listen closely. Just let these words surround you like the hush before dawn, promising nothing but presence inside the spaciousness of enough. Sometimes the purest wealth arrives draped in silence, not because you are forgotten, but because the universe is still setting the stage. A gentle pause between heartbeats, a hush before the symphony. A time as soft scaffolding waiting to hold the thing you've been calling in. Most begin this waiting with restless hands, searching for the arrival in every shadow, chasing proof, peering between curtains, doubting if the invitation was ever sent. The world has trained the nervous system to leap at the first sign of delay, as if every hour that passes means less. As if the clock could determine if you are worthy of fulfillment. When money feels slow, the mind spins stories. Did I miss a secret turn? Is my desire too much, too soon, too greedy? And so the muscles tighten, the breath shortens, and the spirit withers under questions that were never meant to be answered so quickly. But what if all you are encountering, right now, is sacred preparation? I imagine for a moment a quiet atelier tucked above the city lights, where an artist leans over an empty canvas. No brush has touched white yet, instead, there's a ritual. The artist wipes the dust from corners barely seen, lingers beside the window, waiting for a certain golden note of sunlight that sparks something wordless inside. Before anything appears, there is the choosing of pigments, soft ochre, deep blue. Unhurried, the brushes are set in water, bristles softened by patience alone. To the outside eye, nothing has begun, and yet the room is thick with creation. The act of preparing is invisible in daylight, but woven into every masterpiece that will one day exist. Breathe in the permission to sit inside this kind of anticipation. Pause, soften your jaw, let your shoulders drop. Let your belly loosen. Notice how the body holds stories about readiness, how the mind tempts you to rush to the outcome, how the heart sometimes aches for proof of becoming. Most are taught to sprint through the emptiness, to fill waiting with noise, effort, or even shame. But tonight, could this be the interval where identity is not measured by what's landed in your hands, but by the tenderness you bring to each invisible step? I think of all the ways an artist chooses the canvas long before the paint touches. There is testing the weight between fingertips, listening for the stretch in the frame, sensing in silence whether the surface can hold what is coming. No audience cheers for the time spent blending the perfect base or testing colors outside the margins. So many judge their arrival by tallying up finished paintings, forgetting the artistry of beginnings that are never meant to be rushed. Each time you wonder if delay means denial, remember the artist who tends preparation, refusing to mix shades before water is warm, refusing to paint in shadow just to see a result. There is an ancient knowledge here that conditions can become abundantly right only when you honor the unseen. Pause again. And feel the breath as pigment swirling in water. Let it rest before the next inhale. So many rush to earn, to love, to solve, grasp at partnership, crave security, measure time by what arrives in bold letters. But this night, let your mind trace the slow wisdom that lives in waiting, the hand that learns before it creates, the soul that welcomes before it receives, the palette that reveals colors after long moments of quiet mixing. Money, too, follows this law. Creation, nourishment, intimacy, each one shaped in the secret minutes when nothing appears to be happening, when only trust persists quietly. What would happen if you let each breath be a gentle stroke across your inner canvas, each heartbeat another layer of readiness? I release the urge to count what is missing, let go of narrating this moment as a test or punishment. Instead, imagine a life where the soft work is honored. There is power in knowing your worth is not found in deadlines, nor in chasing outcomes, nor in the applause of instant arrivals. Think, if abundance filled your home like perfume, seeping in unseen through doors left open in hope, would you rush it? Could you force the air to sweeten more quickly? Or would you savor the first traces, trust that the room is preparing for saturation? Breathe again. Notice the bridge between yearning and having. Every so often, a beloved comes not with words but with gentle touch, preparing a circle of space just for you. The ground is swept clean. Candles are lit, curtains drawn open just wide enough to let through the evening gold. This, too, is an artistry. Receiving love as a season before receiving love as a fact. Money, opportunities, healing, all journeys align themselves in ripening, not because receiving is conditional, but because what is most true is built to last. And so, tonight, rest in the knowing that your own preparation is a kind of brilliance. The canvas stretches in silence, the artist's hand steadies. The pigments deepen with every moment you resist the urge to rush. Quiet is not a punishment tonight. The stillness is not evidence of lack. Trust this sacred pause as the pattern from which your full abundance is about to emerge. Exhale slowly. Let the story of arrival write itself in deeper, unseen ink. Let yourself be prepared. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is soft at its edges, but quietly bold at the center. There is no rush in the careful setting of love or wealth, no accident in the measured pause before arrival. All this space you are in, where answers seem slow and wishes seem folded in waiting, holds a purpose as old as trust itself. What if every moment of delay is a brushstroke of devotion painting your future? What if the silence before results is the sound of angels arranging a place of honor just for you? What if not having it now is proof that something more precise, more beautiful, is being crafted by hands you cannot yet see? Here nothing is missing, there is nothing broken. This isn't a lesson, it's a recoding. Every word is seeded to soothe the nerves, ground the belly, and let the heart exhale. Tonight, there is nowhere you must reach, only a deepening into the worth you already contain. This is a cocoon, not a classroom. A silent witness sits beside you as these words soak in. The old wires tied to speed, urgency, and proof can unravel now, replaced by silk threads of patience and quiet confidence, one gentle sentence at a time. If there is tension in your chest or restlessness in your legs, they too are welcome. Soften and let them travel with us into the gentle dark. If you've caught yourself chasing certainty, measuring progress minute by minute, or grieving what didn't arrive on your timeline, this night holds space for you. If money's lateness has conjured blame or belief that you have done something wrong, these next moments will invite arms of comfort around that story. If worth has tangled itself with visible proof, contracts, deposits, manifestations, tonight those knots will meet gentle unraveling. You are not meant to strive in the dark. You are meant to remember the care being prepared in your absence, every unseen hand laying down beauty on the table, every breath of rose and warmth infusing new possibility into the room of your becoming. Even here, especially here, there is honor in what grows beyond your knowing. There is detail being stitched into the cloth you'll sit at soon, a layering of gold thread and sacred intention that is yours alone. And tonight is not a lecture, it is a lullaby for your waiting places. Let yourself notice, perhaps for the first time, that your seat was always reserved. Delays are not punishments, but invitation for sweetness and safety. Each missed deadline, each pause in abundance, each moment your heart tightens and wonders, why not now? These rest in the gentle hands of something wise, and that wisdom remembers you even when you forget. Nothing is late. What is yours remembers its root. So stay, even if your eyes close, let the rhythm move under your listening. This is not about catching every phrase. It is about feeling the care you have always deserved begin to surround your heart like quiet velvet. Inhale and notice that you are not separate. Exhale and notice the edge of the ache beginning to loosen. There will be no striving here, just the slow, sacred unfolding, the unhurried care with which spirit sets its most beautiful table before the feast. Tonight is a returning. Even if you wander or drift, your part in this abundance is untouched. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. There is a pause the soul makes long before the world sees any sign of what is blooming sometimes. Outside eyes see nothing happening, and perhaps on the surface that looks true. Most people spend their days searching for signs. Evidence, proof that the prayer has landed, the wish is sprouting, the door is about to open. They grip the doorknob of opportunity, checking again and again, tugging softly, then harder, whispering questions into the tiny cracks of wood and time. Is it now? Am I ready? What is missing? They peer over the fence for clues, scan for green shoots, tally up seconds, compare their unfolding to the wider world, and wonder if they've been forgotten or left behind. Inside, impatience is a quiet hum beneath the skin, small spikes of worry dressed up as preparation. And so much of this hunger for the next chapter rides along the surface of things, like wind brushing shallow water, never touching the depths beneath. But what if the soul, wise and wilder than timelines, is quietly gathering itself just beneath awareness? What if, instead of missing the wave, you are simply preparing yourself to ride it with more steadiness? Pause. Inhale. Let the body soften. Imagine the first seeds, deep in dark soil. No one rushes a seed. No loving hand digs it up to measure its progress. Hour by hour, down beneath, there is work happening no eye can track. The seed shell softens, threads of hope press outward, reaching for the gentle water drawn by gravity's song. It's not delay, but perfect sense. The roots need time to anchor before anything tender can push toward sun. This is the soul's unhurried mathematics, every longing becoming depth before surface, softly now. Exhale. Most people fear that not yet means never, that a pause in abundance is a closed chapter, a locked gate. The mind races in loops. Did I mess up? Did I miss my chance? Was there something I should have said, done, known? But the soul, patient as seasons, knows when it is still preparing to meet the blessing halfway. Internal readiness is not weakness, but wise timing. It is pulling warmth around yourself when the night is longest, feeling the heartbeat of safety in waiting. The world talks of striking while the iron is hot, but sometimes the most sacred thing is to let the coals glow quietly just a bit longer. Imagine roots again. There is a reason for the dark. The longer the pause beneath the soil, the steadier the plant above. The forest mothers say so. The river reeds whisper it at dawn's soft release. Notice the weight fall from your shoulders. Honoring internal readiness means valuing the invisible, not just reaching for the first opportunity, but noticing who you're becoming as you wait. Can you feel this? The pulse beneath outward striving, deeper currents shaping what's next to come. Sometimes, rushing into abundance before your roots are anchored is like building a house on soft sand after the tide pulls out. The moment will come, but let the foundations drink the water first. Breath in. Stretch wider. Give yourself the permission to be where you are, to not know, to not hurry the dawn. Every seed before it bursts is holding counsel with its own becoming. It reviews the soft mathematics of sunlight and dark, moisture and memory. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not missing anything required for your blooming. There is no award for being the first to flower, no hidden shame for waiting a season longer. The mind will tell stories of what could have been. The job accepted too late, the investment missed, the chance not seized. But none of those tales see the roots you're weaving underground, far from any eye, each one preparing you for what your heart can actually hold. Pause again. Let your exhale be slow, almost hidden. Before I rushed results. Now I meet myself in the dark, where gold is minted slow, before I compared my pace to others. Now I honor the hush, the necessary lingering between hope and arrival, before I thought missed chances were forever gone. Now I sense the quiet hand of timing, shaping what lasts. This is where the abundance really lives. Not in what is grabbed in a moment, but what is grown beneath the skin. When I wait for the soul's readiness, I give my nervous system the gift of safety. I trust that when my roots are deep enough, what grows above will weather storms. Opportunity will always come, because the true harvest is never late for the one preparing in wholeness. Let the silence settle. Draw each breath as if it plants a root, anchoring you in patience, in certainty, in softness. Let this be your knowing. Nothing real is lost by waiting, and blessings aligned to your essence need no chasing. Wait as the seeds wait, deep, quiet, wise, becoming stronger with every unseen day. And then little by little you will notice the first lifting, the hush before the ground cracks open, each moment leading you gently, tenderly toward sun. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about the timing of abundance, the way wealth and safety approach your life, and why sometimes waiting is the deepest act of self-trust. What if every pause, every moment when money seems to hesitate at your door, is a soft hand weaving a nest, not a lock barring the way? What if quiet gaps, the empty, gentle pauses in receiving, are blankets, not voids, keeping your inner world warm as you become who you are meant to be. What if every delay, every gentle rescheduling by life, is not a cancellation, but an invitation? The soul's way of feathering a nest before inviting in the new. This isn't a lesson, it's a recoding. Every sentence here is carried to you like a lullaby, designed to help your nervous system rest, so your soul can remember that you are already whole, already worthy, already welcome. Here, you are wrapped in room to breathe. You are not asked for effort. There is no test, just a soft reminder that your worth has never and will never depend on speed or schedules. If your heart has ever tightened when the deposit was late, if you have measured your value by how quickly results appear, if empty inboxes or silent nights made you question if you did something wrong, this episode is your safe shelter. This space is for the parts of you that have waited and wondered, and for the quieter truth that maybe, just maybe, the waiting itself was sacred. Stay with me now, even if your eyes grow heavy, something gentle and wise will reach you. Every breath is a return to trust, every phrase a hand cupping your spirit in the soft glow of assurance. Tonight, let yourself rest inside the space where nothing is missing. Even delay is a devotion, even silence is a reassurance. Let these words wrap you, like warmth in a dim room, the hush after rain, a gentle arm around your shoulders. You do not have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. There is a hush that settles in the chest when the waiting becomes too loud, when the ache for what is next echoes inside spaces not yet filled. Sometimes the only uncertainty left is the timing of what we know, somewhere deep, is already ours most nights. The world teaches to press forward, to lunge toward the next green light, to clutch at promises not yet ripened. It rewards the one who hustles, who pushes, who tugs at the edges of destiny. Hoping to shape it by force so often, the heart grows restless when nothing is arriving on command, a riverbed wide and yearning. Waiting for the rain, it is tempting to measure readiness by how much you can chase, or to decide that what didn't arrive was proof you weren't enough, or that you missed the only chance you'd ever have. But alignment is a choreography not written by willpower alone. Breathe here. Sometimes, newness waits in doorways. Listening for the music within you to shift, quietly. The mind does not like to linger in the unknown. It paces the corridors, remembering every calendar square marked with unmet goals. Tracing circles around the clock, but what if the delay was not denial? What if it was the loving patience of the universe, refusing to push two lives, two energies, two fortunes together before their chords could harmonize? Exhale. Alignment is learning to walk at the speed of trust. It is a gentle surrender, no longer grasping at fruit not yet sweet. No more prying open buds. No more breaking through doors that remain unopened because the floor beyond is still being laid. Money, too, is softened here. Abundance can be an anxious houseguest if you invite her before your arms are ready to cradle her gently. As she arrives but scurries from room to room, settling nowhere, vanishing before dawn. She visits those who make space, not those who beg and plead from scarcity. This is not a punishment, but a mercy. The timing is tender, neither early nor late. It is a match struck only when the air can hold a safe, lasting flame. Pause. Most of us have rushed, booking flights before the passport is found, calling love before our voice has recognized its own melody, wishing for wealth before we've learned to hold pleasure without guilt. There is a slow dance here, a gentle waltz between longing and trust, between desire and surrender, What if every delay was a silk thread, weaving the tapestry not just of what you want, but of who you are when it finds you? What if the hands of time tenderly fold in seconds, not to deter, but to prepare, not to withhold, but to deepen? A pause is not empty space. It is a garden fallowing, a field beneath snow, a sky arranging sun and moon in patterns for the tides you do not see. Inhale softly in love. Sometimes a soul passes by, not yet able to meet the gaze that would recognize it years later, in safety. Sometimes the locked door is not a fortress, but a cocoon, letting you grow wings strong enough to carry abundance when the latch finally releases. Exhale worry, if waiting feels like banishment. Notice the hush in the corners, where life reorganizes, not to ignore you, but to make more room. Can you honor the seasons where it looks as though nothing is growing, while underneath, roots are thickening, reaching for deeper sustenance? A slow and patient anchoring. These moments, stretched and silent, stretch you too. Instead of holding rigidly to pictures of what should be, let softness wash through the body, soften the hands, unclench the jaw, let the shoulders drop. Just for this moment, sense the possibility that what is for you will not pass you by, and what is not meant cannot be held. No matter how hard the grip, there is wisdom in the hands that open, palms up, receiving the gift only when it can be fully cherished. Listen, a promise echoes in the silence, not of fast fixes, but of deep. Woven timing, we are taught urgency, but your soul remembers cycles. The oak does not outpace the acorn, the sunrise does not burst, but blooms, breath in trust. Imagine the slow turn of the universe, aligning each opportunity not only with your desires, but with your readiness to embody them. Allow yourself the mercy of waiting, not as punishment, not as proof of failure, but as sacred choreography. Feel the freedom that you do not have to hunt what belongs at your table. What is aligned will find its way, walking its own true pace, stepping into your life at the precise moment your spirit can welcome it. Host it, honor it, you can rest in this. Not all tides rush in, some linger, swirling at the shore, letting the land remember the taste of salt. Not all rains fall at once, some clouds withhold, letting the earth grow thirsty. So when the first drop lands, you will truly receive. Not all seeds burst, some wait, curled quietly in darkness. Trusting the sun will come, because it always does. Surrender to the artistry of timing. Let the anxiety of delay unwind from your chest. Let each pause become a note in a song that will someday ring out whole. Abundance meeting alignment is not a race. It is a blessing, and it cannot arrive a second too soon, nor a breath too late. Trust the patient invitation of your own life. Sigh into the knowing that all will unfold, not when you force, but when you're most fully, safely ready to receive. And tonight, that readiness grows quietly in the dark, like a gift being wrapped by invisible hands, just for you. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message slips in a gentle insistence that just because time hasn't delivered doesn't mean you've been denied. Just because money lingers somewhere out of sight does not mean it is lost in some faraway place. Even stillness can be a movement in the unseen. Even the waiting can be a yes stretched across a longer arc. What if the late arrival wasn't a punishment, but a wise invitation to breathe deeper? What if gaps and pauses in your wealth were opportunities where certainty could plant something softer, something wider than any amount ever could? What if the mind's schedule was only a small part of a story? The heart already knows that genuine abundance has its own way of arriving, not on command, but with a rhythm you've known since before you were born. And what if all the hurry, the racing, the calendar counting, and the craving for right now, what if it was only one voice among many, and not the one that should run your life? Stay with these questions. Notice what starts to soften as you let the edges of your expectations blur. Let impatience become an invitation. Let the not yet become the new beginning. Here, nothing needs changing right away. Tonight, every moment is another chance to lay down what the mind insists is missing and pick up a gentler trust instead. This isn't a lesson. It's a recoding. Every sentence is designed to help your nervous system feel safe, while your soul starts to remember its worth. Every syllable is here to remind your wary, busy mind that you were never measured by the speed of your outcomes or the pacing of your gains, and that each slow unfolding is as holy as the goal itself. If you've ever tracked your progress and felt behind, if nights have come heavy with questions about when instead of how much, if your heartbeat has ever raced at the mention of bills, budgets, or another month passed, this entire episode is for you. If you have ever stared at numbers that seemed to stand still just as your dreams grew urgent, if there has ever been a day when you judged your own path for not keeping up with some unseen deadline, if it's ever felt like security was just a hair out of reach, tonight's soft unwinding is a home for all of you. And because in this space, worthiness is not a finish line and time is not a test. So stay with me. Even if you drift off, the truth will still reach you. Let breath loosen the knots of hustle. Let quiet nestle under your hopes. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. Let it sip at your resistance and melt it, minute by minute, until your whole self knows what your deeper self has never forgotten. That the rhythms of your life and your receiving are not mechanical. They are tidal, lunar, slow and rising. They answer to phases in you the world never taught you to honor. Tonight, allow the mind's clock to fade. Let the heart's clock take over. This rhythm cannot be missed, cannot be late. It has always waited for you to notice it. So press pause. Set down the urge to measure. Abundance, like moonlight rising over water, comes and goes in a pattern both older and wiser than any alarm or deadline. All you need right now is to receive the next breath, and then another, and then another. You are not late. You are right on time for the abundance that is timed just for you. There is a kind of fullness that finds you in the exact space between longing and arrival, a hush that is not empty, but heavy with all the riches that haven't yet taken shape. Most spend this in between as if it were a tight hallway, pacing, hoping for doors to open, afraid to stop moving. There's a familiar pattern. The mind races ahead, spinning with plans, calculating what might be missed if answers arrive late. The heart aches, longing for proof just one moment sooner. The hands fidget, restless from not building, not solving, not fixing. But what if right now, in this narrow corridor of not yet, there is a table set, quietly waiting for you to sit and rest? Listen to the air as it settles around you now, so much possibility in the hush. The delicate coolness before dawn. The subtle softness of your pillow, the gentle slopes where your body empties its weight into the mattress, all reminders that you can be held even when nothing's resolved. The world wants so often for us to chase, to fill our time with more reaching, more searching, more proving. Yet, true richness is sometimes quieter. It waits in the pause, shimmering beneath layers of patience. Waiting, real waiting, is not the absence of abundance, but its first whisper. There is warmth in letting yourself breathe while the answers gather. Imagine the slow drift of a breeze against your cheek, the tender hush between heartbeats, the sound of your breath, a gentle, silvery tide. In these sensations, there is an entire garden growing. You don't have to run to gather it. You only need to be here now. Isn't it wild that the muscles remember how to clench and brace, preparing for the storm, but forget there is a steadiness in unclenching? What if this moment, with its incompletion, is not lacking but brimming? What if the blank space is not a void, but a canvas dipped in gold light, preparing you to receive in ways the hurry never could? There are seeds sleeping just below the surface, silent, unseen, taking their time. Nothing in nature urges the bud to split before spring. All things, money, love, even time, are gathering in unseen ways, letting their flavors ripen in the dark. Softening into this pause, notice the gentle things still cradled here, the ease in your shoulders, the slow forgiveness settling behind your ribs, the warmth that pools in your belly as you exhale. Even with no arrival, there is nourishment. Most stories teach only about endings, achievements, goals, the moment desire is fulfilled. But so much of life is the in-between, like honey thickening in the hive, like water curling over stones before it finds the sea, like dough rising quietly under a clean cloth. Every becoming needs time. What if there's wisdom in pausing? A different kind of knowing, one that says your worth is not measured by speed, not by the quick rush of manifesting, but by how deeply you let yourself taste the present. This waiting, it does not make you less. It gathers you. Let your hands rest, palms open, feel the coolness of night air, the sound of quiet, the gentle pulse under your skin. Each breath a new invitation. Each sense awakened is a way to claim the abundance already murmuring beneath every delay. If money is close, but not yet visible, is it possible the universe is clearing pathways not in your line of sight? If love feels paused, maybe it is only letting itself become safer, wider, richer before it meets you. If safety seems like a distant shore, could the gentle tide of this pause be shaping new land beneath your feet? There is no shame in gently wanting more. Wanting is just a sign of life, of expansion, of trust in new horizons. And yet, letting the want be soft, unrushed, means your nervous system can rest, your heart can remember its natural rhythm, your breath can sink even deeper, even slower sometimes. When impatience pulses under your skin, it is only old fear. Fear of missing out, fear of not being enough, fear the door will close before you reach it. But what if every delay is a hand on your shoulder, gently guiding, quietly saying, "Not yet," not because you are being punished, but because there is more being shaped for you than you can see. There are whole worlds that exist in the in-between, the soft gold that comes just before the sun breaks the horizon, the quiet thrum of the city before it wakes, the tender hush in a lover's arms before the words are spoken. All this richness is available now, in breath, in body, in tiny comforts. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let the space between your thoughts widen. What if the truest abundance comes not from filling the silence, but from falling into it? Each moment that you wait, you are actually being met, being nourished, being grown, by forces far gentler and wiser than striving. Notice once more the gentle warmth on your skin, the blanketing hush of the night, the slow pulse of hope under old layers of worry. There is beauty here before anything arrives. Your soul knows how to receive it, one breath, one heartbeat, one softness at a time. There's a certain stillness that enters the room when the world says, "Wait," a hush that isn't empty, but honest, as if the air itself holds a gentle lamp to the quiet corners, inside a pause that wraps itself around all of the wanting. lingering soft against the skin of every hope, every should have by now. Every is it ever coming thought that flickers beneath the surface. Most move quickly through this hush. Some fill the waiting with noise, rush, the sacred busyness of proving, chasing the next promise. Hunting for the glint of certainty, as if reassurance could be mined from movement. Some try to outrun the ache with lists and plans and another flurry of yes, I'm working on it. The mind leaps from possible to possible, mapping escape routes from the emptiness of not yet. Others let silence needle, tensed shoulders braced against the ache of patience, bracing for answers. Hearts wary of what might echo back from this hush, but what if the waiting is the truest mirror you've stood before? A gentle, silver-backed reflection that shows not just your face, but the shape of what you believe about deserving each pause, a breath upon the glass, lending form to quiet stories you carry. Sometimes the mirror shows an old tremor. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm not chosen. Maybe I should be farther ahead by now. On other days, the reflection whispers, will the door close before I'm ready? Am I too late for what I want? Is my worth measured step by step, or do I belong, even here in the pause? There's a trembling edge to waiting, where old scarcity breathes its fog across the surface. In this stillness, lack can dress itself in many clothes, doubt tailored sharp, impatience as a second skin, urgency whispered like prayer, money, love. Opportunities just out of reach, each pause becomes a magnifying glass over the most tender roots. Let your exhale trace the shape of those knots, and soften here. It's tempting to muscle past the discomfort, fill the hollow with noise. A promise or the wild pulse of manufactured movement, but this mirror reflects only truth, a gentle seeing that doesn't accuse, only reveals. So, what meets you when tomorrow holds its gifts behind its back? Does your heart contract, or is there a space, however small, where compassion can pulse beneath the ache? Let that breath ripple out. Imagine your bones loosening, shoulders uncurled. Give the mirror permission to hold every old story, the ones about never enough, about running out of time, about needing to prove, and watch as it softens the places you braced, the places you hurried, the places you thought quiet meant forgotten. It isn't easy. The hush can feel raw, a spotlight on longing, a highlighter across unfinished dreams. Sometimes the waiting stings, not for what you don't have, but for the weight of everything you've ever chased. But still, what if this space isn't lack, but loving preparation? What if delay is not a punishment, but a gentle stretch, making room for a steadier receiving? What if worth is not a prize for the patient, but the soil you stood in all along? In the hush, old stories surface, stories inherited, scarcity wrapping around the ankles of those who waited before you, told in quiet warnings, in lessons of urgency. In love disguised as worry, stories you picked up, believing the world only rewards those who rush, that abundance is for the first in line, that silence means you fell short. Let your next breath arrive. Notice where your body wants to tense, where the old tailies itch behind your ribs, and soften. What if you allowed the waiting to hold you tenderly, to unwind shame from every delay, to unbraid urgency from your chest? Scarcity is clever, weaving doubt through every pause, but when you linger, truly linger in the reflection, without turning away, you start to see, maybe this waiting is a threshold. Not an exile, maybe your dreams are ripening out of sight, like fruit swelling sweet beyond the garden gate, safe in their own unseen timing. There is richness in not yet, a pause where fear can be met not with resistance. But with slow, compassionate recognition, instead of bracing, let your breath flow like water into the places that ache. Let your hands rest open. Uncurl the old clutching. Listen to what rises beneath the hush if you feel tempted to rush. Honor that. The urge to hurry grew in soil that once felt scarce. The need to fill the void learned itself in rooms where waiting was made into warning. But tonight, let every ache be met by a kindness so deep, it spills into every held breath. Every tight memory, even the stories you wish were gone, they are allowed, even the doubts you tuck beneath the pillow. They belong. Stay with the mirror a little longer. Money, the sweet hum of enoughness not held hostage by a date. Love, the warmth of devotion that grows quietly in the shadow and in the light. Safety, found not in what's arriving, but in the tidal rhythm of breaths, steady, ever-returning. Time, no longer a thief, but a gentle gardener tending to every shade. Preparing abundance with wisdom only patience can see. Soften your view if you witness a flinch or a tightness, a story line that says you are late or forgotten. Just notice it, exhale into its center. Let the hush swirl compassion through the ache. Let waiting be the teacher tonight. Not of scarcity, but of self-return. Mirror meets mirror. The pause gently reflecting back the vastness that holds it all. Who would you be if every delay was cherished? If every not yet became another root deepening, another promise kept in secret? Take another breath for every moment you braced. Another now is offering its gentleness. The mirror doesn't rush the morning, and neither must you. Let every edge be seen, honored, softened. And in the quiet, let worth return to its home. There is nothing to rush, nothing to prove, only the slow claiming of a truth long loved. Even here, especially here, abundance is already curling softly toward you in its own wise, slow way. Breathe. Let go of counting time. Let the mirror ripple and ease. You are never measured by waiting, only met by it, and tonight, the hush is a gentle keeper of your unfolding. There is a quiet moment when the clay meets the hands it trusts, when tension gives way to yielding, and something ordinary is shaped without hurry or fear. In this gentle space, what's asked isn't to become perfect or quickly complete, but simply to soften, to let even hope itself be remolded, not because it's broken, but because it is safe enough to change shape. Most days, the world expects more now, faster. Bigger, a pouring of dreams as if the cup must overflow on command, a hunger to fill, a panic to catch. A reaching so tight that fingers slip through the very fortune they seek. But a vessel that is hurried in the shaping will crumble before it has even touched the water. So many try to hold wealth with hands that tremble, believing that catching it is harder than holding it. That more is always at risk of being lost. But what if the receiving was softer than that? What if the true strength became a capacity that gathered, held, and quietly multiplied everything it invited? Tonight, let the body remember. Inhale, slowly. Feel the ribs broaden gentler. Now, like clay on a wheel being pulled wider, with care, not force. Exhale and notice where you have been bracing against life. There is no rush in an ancient potter's hands. The vessel becomes itself in spirals, not in lines, a fingertip guidance, a pausing, a moistening with water when it cracks from too much heat or pressure. So often, we try to skip the tending, pouring all we have into tiny cracks and calling it expansion, when what's needed is the slow discovery of where we truly lack hope or energy. Or trust, the hairline fractures that invite us to pause. How many times have you grasped for more, a windfall, a lover, a golden opportunity, and watched it seep through some unseen fissure, leaving confusion and shame. What if tonight those fissures didn't mean you were broken, but ready for a gentler shaping, letting every breath soften the inside edges, smoothing sharp places with presence whenever impatience rises? Feel the clay resisting too thin walls whenever old belief stings. Notice a new hand, quiet, skilled, asking nothing but your gentle allowance. There is mercy here. Let the pace slow, let the story unwind each inhale. Your dreams grow broader, sturdier each exhale. Old narratives fall away, dust before the forming vessel. The true container for wealth was never born of clenching or control, but from the courage to allow reshaping. Even when old forms felt familiar, to welcome more money, meaning, love, abundance, means meeting your current shape as it is, then surrendering to hands wiser than willpower. Sometimes that is nothing more than a softening of your inner grip, a permission to become larger through less effort, not more. When you allow yourself to be shaped, the world becomes gentler in turn. See yourself as a chalice, being ready to hold something holy. Not just more. Trust arrives in these pauses. Notice how, as the walls of your inner vessel thicken, you feel the safety to wait, to hold, to prepare for a heavier, richer overflowing. In the language of wealth, this is patience. In the language of spirit, this is trust. In the quiet shaping, this is where timing and worth begin to feel less like burdens and more like companions. Most rush ahead, secretly fearing collapse. They mistake strength for resisting, or for holding on so tightly that even blessings cannot pour in. But real abundance gathers where the structure is honest, where the edges have been lovingly attended, where every tension was met with curious hands, not punishing ones. Imagine the water poured into a mended vessel, held, not just for a moment, but for as long as it wishes to remain. Imagine gold melting, filling an ancient mold. It takes every curve, slow and hot, a transformation that cannot be rushed. Let yourself be shaped by timing itself. Let wealth settle into you like warm liquid in a chalice, neither spilling nor escaping. Where there have been likes, overspending, overgiving, saying yes when your heart longed to wait, breathe into those places now, not as wounds, but as invitations. Each breath a repair, each silence a glaze strengthening the fire-born vessel. Tonight, permission hides in softness. It feels like resting in the hands of the divine artist, trusting something unseen is preparing you for more than passing plenty. Let the story of rushing dissolve. Let the myth of unworthiness fade with every exhale. The vessel becomes graceful, not because it strains, but because it yields, and then gently holds everything entrusted to it. And so, allow this to become the vessel that holds, multiplies, and blesses. Each part shaped not by force, but by a kindness that always knew how much you could truly carry. Sometimes, what feels like waiting is something else entirely. There is a hush that settles when life seems slow, when answers haven't appeared, when wealth or rightness is not rushing in. In that hush, a quieter meaning sometimes flickers, a wiser hands-off pause, a secret sorting still in progress. Most of us have been taught to fill that pause with noise, to fetch, to chase, to question, and to wonder if something's failed or if worth was somehow withheld. In those spaces, the mind can spiral, each empty interval turned over for clues, each closed door rehearsed as regret. And yet, what if the pause is not a punishment? What if it is an act of exquisite selection? Imagine, for a moment, a jeweler at their workbench. Light falls softly over velvet, and precious stones glint from every side. Not every gem is placed into the next ring or crown. Some are set aside, a drink of water, a sharpened lens, another glance, a slow weighing in the palm. The most brilliant, the most true, are chosen only after this slow patience. The rest rejoin the velvet until their time. What if your life is being given that same degree of care? What if every seeming pause is not withholding, but a gentle appraisal, a loving discrimination in which opportunity is filtered, weighed, softly deemed right or not yet? There is quiet here, a settling of heart rate and urgency. In this silence, old pressures loosen. Before there was chasing, rushing to the window when fortune was late, scanning each horizon, calling out to answers not ready to appear. There was a gripping, a holding forth an open palm and closing it too quickly, catching air where only readiness will do. Before there was hovering at the boundary between belief and frustration, wishing the mail arrived earlier. The answer was clearer, the recognition immediate. Breath in, let it go. What if discernment, real discernment, is trusting that delay is not lack, that the slow arrival is actually a form of wisdom, one organizing itself around your highest belonging? When the world is quiet, the nervous system softens. The body learns, stillness is not failure. There's another layer. Sometimes, when money is late, the mind tries to label itself unworthy, off track, left behind. But what if the opposite is true? What if the spaces in between are intelligence, an invisible hand holding back all that is restless, all that could topple gently hard-won trust? Like soil holding a seed in darkness until roots entwine, until the shell splits. Breath in, a little deeper. Every day people clamor for instant doors, swift arrivals. Yet in the universe's own time, there's a careful curation. Like the jeweler, the cosmos turns each opportunity over in its palm, weighing not just shine but endurance, not just promise but fittingness. Some offers are spun aside softly, too sharp, not ready, not in the frequency of your current becoming. Others are set aside not forever, but for ripening, marinating in potential that would only open given a little more time. Inhale, feel that. Most have learned urgency as a safety net. Faster means better, earlier means winning, right now means wanted. It's a myth that's woven through money and love and recognition alike. But the true rhythm of abundance is less like a race and more like a tide. Sometimes the water withdraws so more beach is shown, so you notice the shells, so your feet touch sand that will soon be swept again in white foam and salt. Maybe tonight there's a deeper exhale. A letting go of proving or pressing or demanding signs. Trust that not yet is a form of care. The universe as jeweler, the jeweler as timekeeper, each moment as velvet on which your future is arranged. It can feel strange to sit with this. Don't rush the reframe. Breathe again. Notice the softening. A forgotten truth returns. Some things will fit and others will not. Sometimes being saved from a premature yes is the kindest mercy of all. When the world is late, it may simply be precise. When money is absent, the scaffolding is setting. When love is slow, something purer is waiting its turn on the velvet tray. Across stories of wealth, intimacy, even health, delay is the twin of discernment. Imagine 3 rivers flowing. One is your desire, clear and shining. One is timing, winding and unseen. The last is the filter, a gentle goldsmith, who ensures nothing misaligned crosses from future into now. Just as a jeweler flicks aside the stone with a hidden flaw, so does the universe sift and spare you from unrest. Where the old self fretted and calculated, the newer self reclines, watching, noticing, allowing. Sometimes it takes 3 slow heartbeats for the breeze of reassurance to arrive. Sometimes it takes a night. Sometimes it waits through seasons until the garden is ready for another bud. Each breath is a letting go, each pause, the start of another wave. With every delay, remember the jeweler. Their patience, their skill, their seeing beyond what glimmers only at first glance. Not all that is bright belongs. Not all that is close is here for you. There's relief sometimes in realizing that time is your ally and not your adversary. So tonight, in the quiet where the world seems paused, let there be one more breath. What feels late may just be waiting for its true moment. What isn't arriving is still being refined. In that hush, the universe is selecting, not neglecting, curating something steadier, larger, meant for long wear and the light of your becoming. Sink into this knowing, as the jeweler weighs, you rest. Nothing needed will pass you by, every choice is lining up, polished in the velvet dark, ready to find you when the light shifts. Breathe and trust the selection. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change everything you believe about waiting for what you need or longing for what you want. What if nothing truly meant for you could ever be claimed by someone else? What if the pace of your arrival is part of a timing so safe, your only job is to soften into it? What if your name is already on what is coming, sealed in trust, set aside with gentle certainty? This isn't a lesson. It's a recoding, a sanctuary for the quieter parts of you, the ones that whisper, "But what if I'm late?" Every sentence here is shaped to settle your nervous system. Every slow breath beneath these words is a reminder that your soul's pace is honored here. Even as the day hands over to the hush of night, the deeper truth is waiting, patiently, faithfully, for your resistance to rest. If you've ever felt the dull press of comparison, watching doors swing open for others and wondered if you've been passed by, if you've carried the ache of wanting, urgency fluttering beneath the surface, fearing you missed your one chance or that delay meant denial, if you've named yourself by what you have or by what has not yet walked through your door, this journey is for you. Let me hold space for the doubts that tighten your chest when money seems to flirt just out of reach. Let me acknowledge, with you, how sharp it can feel to refresh screens, to check balances or opportunities or messages, searching for a sign that your time isn't just slipping by. And yet, let's wonder together about a world beyond front-running, beyond the rush, beyond the illusion that only those who arrive first truly belong. What if the seat is kept warm, the cushion still indented from the certainty of your return? What if abundance is not a contest but a gathering? Picture a long table set for just this night. Soft linen, candles flickering low, and at the center, a place card inscribed in looping gold with your name already written. No one can occupy that space. No one else's hands can claim what is yours. If someone sits for a moment, it is only to keep the seat from growing cold, never to steal, only to witness until you return. Rest in this, and if you have ever watched an opportunity pass by, or seen the world move in ways that made it seem you were forgotten, I invite you, breathe. Every missed turn, every not yet, every slow unfolding is a wisdom some part of you already knows. Here, delay is not denial, it's orchestration. Ease into that possibility. Imagine a signed letter, sealed and waiting at the post. No matter how long the journey, no matter what storms swirl through others' days, this message is for you. Addressed in handwriting you'd recognize even in the dark, sent with a trust that cannot be rushed. Stay with me. There is gentleness in this arrival. There are riches in the pause. There is an invisible gardening happening in the soil beneath your steps. Each moment you've waited is not a test of worth, but a weaving of roots. Not punishment, but preparation. Not a sign to contract, but an invitation to expand into steadier ground. Picture slow rivers meander, never missing the sea. Autumn does not race the clock, it ripens in surrender. You do not see the sun fighting daylight for attention, it simply waits for the horizon. What if tonight you unclench your jaw and loosen every story about being left behind? What if you could touch in the hush between heartbeats the simple truth that what is yours will know your face, will hear your breath, will move mountains to find you when the hour is gentle and your soul is ready to receive? This space is here for every beginning that seems slow to take root, for every story that wonders if it's too late, for every quiet, wild dream that wants proof it can still come true, and for every listener who grieves and hopes and is learning to trust unseen tides. Let this be a lullaby for your yearning. Let this be where effort exhales. Let this night be the first of many where your spirit finds home, not in grasping, but in allowing. As if you've ever thought, if I rest now, I might miss out, let tonight gently unravel that thought. If you've ever named yourself by temporary circumstances, let tonight give you another name, constant, worthy, already awaited. The truth is not urgent. Tonight, nothing requires your striving. The only thing asked of you is presence, and even that will meet you where you are, whether your eyes are wide open, heavy with sleep, or already drifting. Just let yourself be surrounded. Let yourself rest in the knowing that your name is already on it. There is a noble calm that quietly settles in the chest when nothing is forced. A deep knowing, deeper than surface anxiety, that hums beneath the longing for answers. It's an old, regal strength, the kind that wears wisdom like a velvet cloak. Silent and steady in its power, most of the world is taught otherwise. Most are trained to clutch, to scheme, to turn stones restlessly, to demand the fruit before its own ripening. The lessons drilled in hurry, hurry, or be forgotten, press, press, or lose the thread. Yet there is something else, older than urgency, softer than striving, allowing as an art, not the limp waiting of the powerless, but the throne seat of the sovereign heart. Imagine a monarch upon their throne in the golden quiet, not gripping the scepter, but resting it by their side, not racing to chase down every petition, but trusting in the gentle tide of what is meant to reach the palace doors. This patience is not a lack of movement, it is the primed stillness. The steadied hand at the helm, it is the powerful exhale after the restless chase is done. It's knowing the world still gathers, blessings still assemble. Even while you pause, breathe here. Let your chest open as if light sweeps through windows in a high, silent hall somewhere. Impatience tightens, the clamor of missed chances, the ache of watching others sprint ahead. The dread that enough won't arrive in time. But this is the moment of the true regent, one who greets the empty corridor, recognizing that not yet does not mean never. Patience, when seen rightly, is not absence but presence, a sacred holding, attuning to the vibration that says, I am not at the whim of what rushes. I am the one time can't rush. What if the real mastery is choosing not to force the lock? What if waiting is never wasted, but is the silent sculptor of your foundation? Each breath, each pause, polishing the walls of your inner palace. Most press forward, knuckles white, chasing closed doors and pulled shades. But the old kings, the wise queens, the sovereign ones, they sit within, sensing tides. Commanding by gentle intention, receiving by inner decree. Let your mind wander now. miles above the rush, a marble balcony in moonlight, cool wind brushing past. Watching time unspool itself in golden threads below, you are not the runner in the game, you are the center, the axis. Opportunities are summoned, not chased. The world says power is force, it mistakes movement for momentum. Noise for abundance, but here, at the quiet heart of patience, true riches accrue unseen. Breathe again. Let your shoulders soften. There is nothing to prove in the pause. What is built in gentle timing endures. A castle laid stone by stone. Each one settled with reverence. No storm can topple what was laid with patience, with faith in the unseen craftsmanship of time. How many fortunes have crumbled for want of waiting? How often is wealth lost in the noise of striving? But the patient steward multiplies, increases, not by haste, but by trust in the orchestration behind the veil. Feel where the urge to hurry lives in your body. Notice how it echoes with old worries. Borrowed scripts, let it fall away, just for now, as a royal robe might slip from tense shoulders at day's end. This kind of patience is not an empty room, but a sanctuary where all parts of you are permitted to breathe. Imagine your desires being tended in the background by unseen hands. As you rest in the knowledge of your own enoughness, there is a legitimacy, a majesty to trusting the ripening. You are not powerless in the waiting. You are powerful because you choose to allow. Patience is not the act of silencing your longing. It is the recognition that your longing deserves a throne of its own. That it becomes more radiant, not less. When seated beside you rather than hidden away, breathe slowly in. Let yourself feel the soft weight of unseen crowns, responsibility not as a burden, but as gentle authority over yourself. Your reactions, your worthiness in the in-between. There is no need to scramble in the halls of wealth. True magnetism unfolds, not from chasing the clock, but from the unshaken certainty that what is meant for you is drawn forward by your unwavering, open presence. This is patience as active sovereignty, not waiting for life to touch you, but knowing you shape its arrival with the quiet voltage of your trust. Breathe one more time. Feel the strength of your own patience thrum beneath all the noise, a hidden treasury. A well left undisturbed, a lineage of quiet rulers blessing the now, filling rooms with the golden hush of certainty. Tonight, let patience crown you anew, in the silence between desires. In the space before arrival, sit in the splendor of letting, not pushing, and feel how, in this place, you become the true architect of power. Let the world keep spinning outside your quiet palace walls, beneath the velvet hush. Something larger and steadier gathers just for you. There is a knowing that lives beneath the noise, a sense so soft it arrives only in the hush, when ambition exhales and everything else starts to dim. Somewhere under muscle and story, deeper than effort or strategy, a steady pulse reminds, what is meant for me cannot miss me, not in this night, not in any storm. Breathe and notice it's quieter right here, below the surface. The world will teach waiting as a tension, a place to brace. Every morning another teacher, another headline, another voice inside shouting, hurry, chase, doubt quiet, cling tight. Most will answer with gripping, with chasing, with the small alarms of needing, faster, sooner, certain. Most fill silence with panic, checking clocks, refreshing the feed, holding their breath between milestones as if presence could be earned only by force. What if this is simply another kind of listening? What if, in this gentle dark, the body could remember inevitability the way petals remember morning, slowly, effortlessly, always? Feel now the way your chest rises, how your ribs create space, and how, even in waiting, something unseen is growing trustworthy inside of you. Pause one more breath. Imagine every longing as a blush in your palm, not absence but warmth, a bloom gathering courage under the earth, unseen but sure. Breath deepens, shoulders soften. The heart returns to its steady, slow punctuation mark. The old stories, the ones that demanded you chase proof, begin to empty out. Drift into how animals rest in winter, without planning blooming. Consider how tides never question their own return. Remember the hush after a candle is blown out, darkness but never absence, quiet but not emptiness. In the space between what is wanted and what is here, most grip tighter. Most bargain with their own heart, pleading for speed, negotiating for worth. Try softer, the intelligence you move with already knows the pace. Drop your shoulders again, let them fall from your ears, let the tension tremble down your arms, all the way to your fingertips. Trust is not a concept here, it's a rhythm in your breath, a certainty loosening the laces of urgency. Allow yourself another quiet inhale, and notice beneath the pulse a hum, inevitability, gentle and silent, quietly reworking the fabric of your next chapter. In money, this certainty whispers. The opportunities that sing your name are already weaving toward you, quieter than fear, more constant than proof. Every time you exhale, imagine the world rearranging softly to meet you not at your current location, but at the highest, kindest arrival point your soul already circled. If old echoes rise, memories of missing out, of rushing and forcing, feel the kindness in the gentle dark. Not yet is not punishment, it is an unseen gift, lining up the perfect hour, the more durable connection, the miracle you would have missed if you ran ahead. Whisper to yourself, all that is aligned for me, is unavoidable, is unfolding, no speed, no struggle, just the certainty of sunrise meeting the horizon. Let the night remind you how not everything needs your holding. Imagine wealth as a tide, not a chase, ebbing, flowing, pausing at the shore not because you called it, but because it always returns home. Imagine love as a heartbeat, steady even when you are lost in thought the body knows. Deep down, the sense of inevitable arrival wraps you in patience. Small choices, honest boundaries, the slow courage to sit inside longing instead of escaping it, these all become your quiet companions in the void. The air moves gently. Your jaw unclenches. The notion of failure slips further away. Maybe tonight the lesson is not more effort but more willingness to rest inside your own becoming, like the hush that lingers before a seed breaks open, like the pause between receiving and understanding. Whisper again inside, it's unavoidable, what's aligned finds me, finds me, finds me. Let this be the way you hold wealth, in the marrow of your calm, in the soft readiness humming inside your bones, in your willingness to welcome the dark as a delivery room for promise. Even when nothing moves on the surface, trust what rises in the hidden orchestra below, roots spreading, stars arranging, doors settling into the right moment to unlock. If the old urge to cling appears, breathe softer. Let the gentle resistance slip through your fingers like silk, replaced by the confidence of inevitability curling up beside you, patient as shadow, certain as breath, kind as sleep. Rest in the knowledge that what is meant for you does not depend on how hard you squeeze, but on how softly you can let it arrive, like a whisper making a promise in the dark, a quiet certainty that never has to shout to be true. Breathe once more, the night holds you. The next chapter is not up to your panic, but your presence. All that's aligned, quietly, inevitably making its way home. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight's message is simple, but it might change what you believe about timing and how you welcome abundance home. What if the quiet pause, the one that aches before evidence arrives, isn't emptiness at all, but a living, golden anticipation? What if waiting for the note to sound is not loss or lack, but the music's promise drawing breath? What if every heartbeat suspended in silence is already humming with certainty, the assurance that what you long for is already on its way? This space, this episode, is an invitation to feel that charged hush that rises before fortune speaks. Not to wish it gone, not to rush its ending, to experience the moment before the first note as more than just a waiting room for miracles. To feel the blessing in the not yet, the pulse of something beautiful assembling itself just behind the curtain. Here there won't be rules, steps, or teachings. There is only the slow melting of old stories about time running out or worth being measured by what shows up, the gentle dissolving of hurry and old belief. Every sentence is a thread of calm, an offering to your nervous system to let your soul feel not just safe, but deeply certain, restored to its knowing, unconcerned by clocks. If you've ever noticed how a concert hall holds its breath, lips part, eyes shine, every heart lining into the silence just before music is born, this hushed anticipation is what we honor tonight. As if you've ever known the tender ache of longing for a deposit that doesn't appear, for an opportunity that slips just beyond, or worried that your worth might be braided too tightly to what comes fast, or doesn't know that each of those tender knots is welcome here. They will be seen, gently named, softly rewritten. This episode is for the ones who have felt haunted by delay, second-guessing every choice, the ones who have kept watch at the window of fortune, blinking hard at the horizon, wondering if abundance passed them by, those who have grown weary of chasing proof, or felt their heart too impatient to let mystery unfold. As if you have ever undercharged, overgiven, tensed quietly as the clock ticked through another unpaid invoice, or worried that abundance loves someone else more. Here, you are not asked to let go, but to breathe into the space between. To slow your reaching, to rest your hands, and allow this silence to cradle you in promise. This is a recoding. Soft statements will slip beneath your defenses, rewriting the tired litany of not enough, or not now, or must hustle harder. As if even a part of you has wanted to believe there's a more restful way to invite wealth, a gentler gate to walk through. Let this be a cloak of quiet, drawn around your body. Stay with me. Even if you drift off, even if your mind wanders or dreams float past, what you most need will reach you in the spaces between my words. Let this night be different. Let this episode become the velvet hush of the concert hall, chandelier lights dimmed, everyone gathered for what's about to be revealed, but savoring the moment just before. For here in the charged stillness, unseen hands, life, fate, the generous weaving of fortune, are arranging the next movement, crafting a note designed only for you. There is no emptiness here, only potential quivering. You don't have to listen closely. Just let it surround you. Let it fill the corners of your mind with the soft certainty that nothing is late, nothing is missing, and your arrival will be right on time. Settle more deeply. Let the weight of day slip gently from your shoulders, each breath a softening, each moment a further release into the quiet sanctuary that waits within. Imagine yourself resting in a room bathed in dusk's golden hush, the air warm and velvet, the edges of thought drawing away like retreating tide. In this haven, A gentle hush wraps around your body, almost as if your skin is held by invisible hands. You feel a grounding through the soles of your feet. Barefoot in soft grass, rooted and at ease, with every inhale notice coolness, a touch of possibility with every exhale, a gentle warmth, a letting go. There is nowhere to be but here, every sound, a lull, each flicker of breath. A gentle invitation back to safety. You picture yourself walking across that golden field, slow, unhurried, the sky above swirling in deep indigo, streaked with hopeful silver, every step trusted and true in this place. There is no rush, only the silent promise of being met. Every blade of grass beneath you is soft. 1,000 small affirmations, steadying your pace, whispering enough, enough. Enough, you sit at the base of a great tree, a companion in stillness, bark warm against your back, the earth solid beneath, your heartbeat sinking, slowing, stretching time, a slow gust sighs through the leaves overhead. Shimmering with memory, it brushes your crown, and you breathe it in, history, inheritance, gentle abundance. You let your body become heavier, every cell remembering ease. Your mind grows quieter, and as the hush gathers, earned truths begin to seed themselves softly. Where mind and body meet, trust arrives, subtle as dusk, trust in what has waited for you. Even when unseen, trust in slowness, trust in intervals between, trust in the holy rhythm of not yet as spaciousness. Not abandonment, receiving is safe now, receiving is safe now. My worth was never pinned to the clock, my worth was never pinned to the clock. I choose to measure time by wholeness, not by what's missing. I choose to measure time by wholeness, not by